Add insult to injury. Harry faces springback as jumping on the bandwagon over COVID lecture. Prince Harry used World AIDS Day earlier this week to call for COVID vaccines to be shared across the world. The outspoken Duke of Sussex compared the COVID pandemic to the HIV/AIDS pandemic that ravaged the world, noting the political failure to tackle both pandemics. However, Talk Radio Royal correspondent Rupert Bell suggested that the COVID lecture from Harry was an easy bandwagon to jump on. In a letter read out at a World Health Organization, WHO, and UN AIDS event on World AIDS Day, Prince Harry said lessons must be learned from the HIV/AIDS pandemic. Vaccinating the world was a test of our moral character, he wrote. It's time to draw from the lessons we learned throughout the HIV/AIDS pandemic, where millions died unnecessarily due to deep inequities in access to treatment. Are we really comfortable repeating the failures of the past? Everything I've learned from the youth of Bale, his charity in Lesotho and Botswana, tells me not. They see how repeating these mistakes is destructive and self-defeating. It is a betrayal of the next generation. He said his late mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, who helped to highlight the work of AIDS charities, would be deeply grateful to the scientific community for their work in combating the disease. Harry and his wife, Meghan, have been vocal campaigners for COVID vaccine equity. In a video for the People's Vaccine, co-narrated by Harry and the UN AIDS Executive Director, Winnie Byanyima, he said, "There are striking parallels between COVID-19 and another deadly pandemic, one that emerged 40 years ago, HIV. This is a story about how corporate greed and political failure have prolonged both pandemics and what we can do to stop it." Mr. Bell explained, Harry is comparing the situation now to what happened with AIDS. He has accused people of not doing enough to help those countries during the AIDS pandemic 40 years ago, and he is comparing like with like. Rupert mentioned that Harry did a similar stunt in September when he and wife Meghan Markle attended Global Citizen Live in New York. He called on the ultra-wealthy pharmaceutical companies to waive their intellectual property rights on COVID vaccines. Harry had a pop at a pharmaceutical company, but they are not interested. They are just looking to sorting out the richer countries because they are the countries that can pay for the vaccines, the royal commentator added. He's done this before, so it's another way to give him an impression. Yes, it's very worthy, the attention. Of course we want to help as many people as possible. But it's an easy headline for Harry to get in these circumstances. Jumping on the bandwagon maybe, although Diana, his mother, was very much in the forefront of helping the AIDS situation. His mother Diana was in the forefront of helping the AIDS situation. But Harry always jumps on the socially right bandwagon. In the letter, addressed to the WHO Director General, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Harry wrote, "Vaccinating the world is a test of our moral character, and we are experiencing a spectacular failure when it comes to global vaccine equity. Similar to the AIDS crisis, we've yet again revealed over the past year that the value of life depends on whether you were born and/or live in a rich nation or a developing country. That means breaking pharma monopolies that prevent vaccines from getting to communities around the world in need. That means governments honoring their promises and delivering the doses that they committed." He continued, "That means pursuing international pandemic agreements with strict timelines and holding each other accountable to them. That means treating all human lives as equal lives." Harry has followed his late mother's influence in the fight against AIDS and its public stigma, even taking HIV tests live on camera. On World AIDS Day this week, Harry spoke movingly about Princess Diana, saying she would be deeply grateful to the scientific community for their work in combating AIDS.